Hello and welcome to a video that I really just did not want to make because it is heartbreaking just thinking of the things I have to say. This is my spoiler review of Kung Fu Panda 4. I did get to check this movie out early because yes, while for most of the world it did come out on the 8th of March, which was last week, here, South Africa and a bunch of other places, it's only coming out next week, the 22nd of March. And for some reason, my local mall had a 3D screening Saturday. So I don't know why. I'm not complaining, but I went with my friend to watch it. We both absolutely love Kung Fu Panda beyond belief. Right? The second movie, we both agree, is the best DreamWorks movie. Lord Shen is the best villain. But the films, on their own, were amazing with phenomenal villains. And when we heard that all of them were coming back, oh boy, were we excited. The trailer did kind of rub me the wrong way, especially with the fart joke at the end, but I was still quite excited for this movie. And I'm sad to say that I was really disappointed. I guess to summarize the movie before I get into the details is that it is impossible to be someone like us, someone who absolutely loves the Kung Fu Panda franchise, loves the story, the characters, and everything about it. It's impossible to be like me and love this movie. You cannot love the first trilogy, but also love this movie, because this one just shits all over the original trilogy, which is so sad to see. There were many things, first starting off. Well, actually, you know what? We'll start with the positives, okay? Because there's a lot more negatives than positives. Starting with the positives, Jack Black still has it as Po, okay? He hasn't changed one bit. And, Po was arguably the best part of the movie. He was still funny and, it was pretty good. Po was probably the most consistent thing throughout the franchise, and I'm glad to say that he's still the same in Kung Fu Panda 4. So yeah, that was really good. Jack Black singing Baby One More Time is another thing that I absolutely loved. Whether or not I love it more than the original, I think it's possible. I think I do. But yeah, that song was great. Another thing was the humor. I thought that the movie would be way too humorous with the child's humor, but to be honest with you, it wasn't actually that bad, and there were genuinely some funny scenes in here. And probably the final positive, unfortunately, is the fight scenes. The fights, I think, in this movie are some of the best of the franchise, and I was mainly looking at it from the animation perspective because, as you know, this movie had half the budget of all the other movies. So I was really, really worried when I saw that. But then the animation still looks, good. Obviously, it's definitely the weakest of the franchise. But yeah, it's tolerable. Okay, it is really good. Now on to the negatives. Oh God, where do I even start? Okay, let's just look at the callbacks to the original trilogy. Okay, things that should have tied in with the previous movies. First of all, why the fuck is Kai back? This is something I've said when they revealed that the previous villains are coming back. Tai Lung, okay, fair enough. He was sent to the spirit realm. Shen, of course, died, so he went to the spirit realm. Kai is a spirit warrior, and he died in the spirit realm. His spirit got destroyed. He should not be back. So I thought that they would, explain that. But no. Hell, we don't even get to see him get his powers taken. We just hear the chameleon say, "Bring me General Kai!" And then, yeah, we just see his shadow, and we don't even get to see him. That was really, really annoying, the fact that they brought Kai back without any explanation. And the reason why they did that is because there is no explanation. Kai should not be back. And another thing is Shifu's stick. If you remember in the first movie, of course you remember, in the first movie, Tai Lung broke the stick. And from Kung Fu Panda 2 onwards, they deliberately made a point of changing the model of the stick. So now it's all wrapped up and fixed at the point where it broke. Now, all of a sudden in Kung Fu Panda 4, it's back in one piece. What the fuck? These people just did not care about the previous movies. And probably like my final point, in them, like the illogical decisions they made with the previous movies, is that for some odd reason, they were like, it's us against an army. What was the point of the panda army in the previous movie then? You're just acting like they never existed. They are trained. They literally fought these kung fu masters in their strongest form, because obviously they can't kill them, when they were the jade zombies. They literally fought them and they held their own. They are trained. Why didn't you bring them back? Why did we now have to build a whole new army, all these like scrappy homeless animals? And not only that, we didn't even really see them fight. They did like maybe one or two things, and that was it. Where's the guy that hugs everyone? Where's the guy with the bad teeth? Where's the ribbon dancer woman? Come on, man. Oh, you can just tell the people who made this movie, they did not give a shit about the previous ones. And actually, sorry, one more point on how they didn't pay attention to the previous movies is Poe does not need to choose a dragon warrior. If you remember, in the beginning of the first movie, they, were deciding now to choose a dragon warrior. Okay, there wasn't one originally. So now that Poe is advancing to spiritual leader, why does he need to choose a dragon warrior? That's not how it worked in the first movie. Oh my god. I can't. But I think it's time we move on to probably one of the worst parts of the movie, and that is the chameleon. You know what? I think that in my head canon, when they were writing this movie, because so many people didn't know what animal Kai was, people were like, oh, is he a yak? Is he a bull? Is he a freaking buffalo? People just didn't know what animal Kai was. So now in the writer's room for Kung Fu Panda 4, they were like, oh, this villain, she's a chameleon. Let's name her the Chameleon. And you know what annoyed me the most is the villains had such cool names. Tai Lung, Lord Shen, General Kai, and now for this movie, the chameleon literally has a monologue where she says, like when she's talking about how she'll conquer all of cities and whatever, generic villain stuff. And she goes, the whole world will know the name, the Chameleon. I'm like, for fuck's sake, why the one villain that you didn't give a name to? Why would you give them that monologue? This makes no sense, man. Oh my god. Then not only that, I've already made a video about how I would have changed it and how I basically perfected the story of Kung Fu Panda 4, making my own story, one that actually makes fans happy. But the chameleon's motive, I'm sorry, what? She was rejected from all like the kung fu masters because she was too small. We have a praying mantis in the Furious 5. Let alone mantis being so freaking small. Viper, who has no limbs. Oh my god, it makes no sense. She was rejected just because she was small? That doesn't make any sense, man. And then not only that, her character just didn't have any like story to it. She just wasn't a character. She was just a generic villain who they had clearly just ripped off Lord Shen, by the way. They literally just copied what happened with Lord Shen, with the chameleon. They were like, oh, Lord Shen had his wolves. They were pretty intimidating. Let's give the chameleon iguanas, all right? They won't do anything, but they look cool. And then not only that, they literally took a line from Kung Fu Panda 2 and shoved it into this movie, exactly copying what happened with Lord Shen. Because in Kung Fu Panda 2, when they enter the city, with Lord Shen and everything, Mantis literally goes, this place is crawling with wolves. Oh my god. He says that, and now in this movie, someone said, this place is crawling with lizards. I'm like, oh my fucking god. When I heard that in the cinema, I wanted to scream. I was like, they really are just copying Lord Shen. And the chameleon didn't even do anything in the movie. The worst thing she did was like push the bear down the stairs. And I know that sounds bad, like she killed him. No, he literally just rolled down the stairs. That's the worst thing she did. She was the least intimidating villain. And then, she literally just brings in the previous villains, and except for Tai Lung, they don't even do anything. As soon as they enter, power taken, gone. And I mean, Kai and Shen didn't even speak, by the way. What the hell? Why Tai Lung as well, which is probably a really big negative, is Tai Lung is so out of character in this movie. In the first film, he was so serious and passionate about being the Dragon Warrior. Now here he's quipping, he's making jokes, while Po is fighting the chameleon, he's going uppercut, hit the left, whatever, which, by the way, where is an uppercut in Kung Fu? Oh my god, and then at the end of the movie, he's like, perhaps Oogway was wrong about you, and then he bows to Po. What the fuck? That's not what Tai Lung would have done. It should have been a more gradual thing. And, there was, my anger is like taking over my English because I can't English. Before watching the movie, I was like, okay, there's two things that could happen. One, Tai Lung gets redeemed and he gets to meet Shifu again. Or two, Shifu dies and, Tai Lung won't be redeemed. Because I feel like the only way you could have done a Tai Lung redemption is if he met Shifu after, he became a good guy. But no, they decided, you know what, we won't have him meet Shifu. We'll just have him all of a sudden be redeemed. This, I think, is the worst redemption arc I have ever seen in my life. And for those of you who've seen Transformers Prime, yes, I have to bring the conversation back to Transformers, but Transformers Prime had the best version of Megatron we have ever seen, and honestly will ever see. And in Predacons Rising, the movie that came after the final season, Megatron is free from Unicron's power, control. And then all of a sudden, he's like, I now understand that tyranny is not the way of leadership. The Decepticons are no more. And then he flies off. That's not a redemption. Yet it was still better than Tai Lung's redemption. And then the chameleon, Tai Lung even plays into the chameleon's defeat. Because once Po defeats her, which, by the way, holy shit, Tai Lung got skadooshed into the spirit realm. Okay? Lord Shen got killed by his own weapon. Kai got absolutely obliterated. He literally exploded. And then with freaking what's her face, the chameleon. Why? Po literally just hits her on the head with the Staff of Wisdom. And there we go, she's knocked out. And then Tai Lung just grabs her and walks into the spirit realm. That is so dumb. Honestly, oh my god, she gets hit on the head. Really? Oh, god, man, this movie is so freaking bad. Also, the fact that there's no Furious 5. What the fuck? Shoehorning them in at the end of the movie and during the credits without having them speak. It's not good enough, okay? You can't just not have them. The Furious 5 were some of the best parts of the Kung Fu Panda trilogy. The side characters, Po wasn't the only one we cared about. We cared about the side characters, Shifu, the Furious 5, hell, even his dads. And this movie, they're like, whatever, who cares? And speaking of side characters, Zhen is just not it, okay? I feel like they only made her betray Po and she's working with the chameleon this whole time. They only did that to make her character interesting. Zhen just felt too forced on the audience. I think that if you want us to love a character, let it be gradual. Okay, you can't just force this idea onto them that, this person's going to be the new Dragon Warrior. You have to love them. Okay, you can't just tell us to love them. You have to make us love them. And that's why everyone loves Po. He was relatable, he was funny, he was just a really sweet character. And having Zhen replace him, I think everyone is just going to be comparing her to him. And it's not really a comparison. Zhen just didn't really interest me in the same way as Po did. And it's kind of sad to see that this is what Kung Fu Panda has become. Just a generic comedy child's movie. You know, the original trilogy had so much depth, so much meaning, you know, such a powerful and heartbreaking story. And this is what it is now. So, as far as I'm concerned, Kung Fu Panda ended with Kung Fu Panda 3. Okay, that is where the franchise ended. And now this is like the new generation's Kung Fu Panda. Okay, because this is despicable. I can't believe that this is the same franchise as the one where Lord Shen literally killed an entire population just to preserve his own life. Okay, just because a fortune teller said that he'll be defeated by a warrior of black and white. And it's just horrible to see. Overall, I'm gonna give Kung Fu Panda 4 a, ironically, a 4 out of 10. I think that the only good things about it were Po, the fight scenes, Jack Black's song at the end, and, you know, most of the comedy. I think that's the only reason why it gets a 4. Hell, I won't even be surprised if eventually my opinion changes and it goes down to a 3. Because when I walked out of the cinema, I was like, that is a 7. The only thing that pissed me off was the ending, because I did have the ending spoiled that, you know, all the villains end up bowing to Po, which General Kai should not be bowing to Po. And as far as Shen goes, I feel like they just forgot to animate Shen because Shen did not bow. So, yeah, I don't know, man. Obviously, Lord Shen should not be bowing to Po. So I think they literally just forgot to animate him because Lord Shen and Kai were just afterthoughts. Hell, they didn't even speak, as I said. But yeah, having Kai bow to Po, that is utter rubbish. But I will admit, it was cool seeing Master Rhino again, because Master Rhino was in the movie. He was the one that Lord Shen had killed in Lord Shen's introductory scene. So yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, this movie, if you really love the Kung Fu Panda trilogy and you see it like me as like the best animated trilogy of all time, or hell, even the best trilogy of all time, full stop, then I'd honestly recommend that you don't watch this. Okay, this is like the Halloween ends of Kung Fu Panda. If you care about the franchise, do not watch this. Okay, it's just horrible. So yeah, that was my rant over. Please let me know what you thought about this movie. Did you enjoy it, or are you someone like me who was utterly disappointed by what the franchise has become, how they've wasted the characters, how bad the new characters were? And yeah, anything, please tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. But yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.